Of Framing New Heights. My name is Michael Hicks. And before I get into our topic today, here's some words from our sponsors. Unlock your true full potential with Live to Thrive Life Coaching. What is it? How do you do it? And why is it so important? Because if you're truly ready to transform your life one step at a time, at Live to Thrive, I believe in the power of small, consistent improvements. My unique, proven framework focuses on becoming 1% better in mind, body, and soul every single day. Here's exactly what I offer. The mind piece. You develop a growth mindset, enhance mental clarity, and conquer challenges with confidence. Body. What I do is I provide you 3 free ebooks. Embrace a healthy lifestyle, boost your energy levels, and achieve your ultimate dreams of fitness. Soul. What I call discover your true purpose. Cultivate inner peace and live a more fulfilling, true, balanced life. As a dedicated life coach with 25 years of experience, I will guide you on a journey to personal excellence, helping you overcoming obstacles and reach new heights. Together, we'll create a customized plan tailored to your unique needs and aspirations. So join Live to Thrive today and start living your best purposeful life. Contact us now to schedule your free consultation by simply going to the website. That website is www.livetothrive.com, where I help high achievers rediscover their inner as well as outer self through the synthesis of my mind, body, and soul program. Are you having trouble sleeping? Maybe some significant pain? Unlock better sleep and pain relief with CBD oil, and guess what? It's Amish tested. Struggling with sleepless nights or constant aches and pains, the premium CBD oil tested and trusted by the Amish community is your solution for a natural relief and restful nights. And right now on Framing New Heights, only for Framing New Heights listeners, I have a special offer. For a limited time, receive 50% off at checkout with the promo code New Heights. Why choose this CBD oil? Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's Amish tested, proven quality and effectiveness, better sleep, and say goodbye to restless nights and hello to peaceful slumber. Pain relief, soothe those aches and pains naturally and effectively. So don't miss out. Check out the website envitamins.com. That's E as in Nancy, N as in nutrients, vitamins.com, and use promo code New Heights at the checkout to claim your 50% discount. Join the Framing New Heights community and start living a pain-free and well-rested today. All right, now we can get into the goodies. So today's podcast is going to be embrace the power of standing out. What does that mean? How does that look? How can we become our best version in our career, in our relationships, with our family? Here's something crazy. Did you know that you are in more control of your connections with people? Because how you're connected with them is truly how they affect you. All right? As social creatures, we have this inherent need to be seen, right? This is to be recognized, acknowledged, feel embraced, feel likable, but many people often go about it the wrong way. And here's what I mean. Inadvertently, they sacrifice their own identity for recognition of others. A life centered around the recognition of others is weighted heavily by multiple expectations, ones that we will never, ever meet. Now, here's a quote for you. Resist the urge to blend in, pursue your unique journey, and live it boldly. Without going too much into my Live to Thrive framework, that's a little bit about a quality motto or quote that my clients strive for every single day. Because when we form these specific connections, we must be careful not to be overly concerned about the judgments they have of us. In other words, you must have the courage to be, guess what, drum roll please, disliked. What? What are you talking about, Michael? Everybody should love us. If you make new friends, they need to know the real you and not a version of you. Because if they know the real you, then you can then have them accept your standards. The best connections are those built on the genuineness of your self-character. When you are more concerned about your friends' opinions, here's what happens. You begin to lose sight of who you are and become more fixated on becoming them and not you. You must realize that you have as much at stake at your various relationships as others have in theirs. You do you. Decide to live your best self. I'm going to give you an example here. Just a something super simple. Let go of the fear of losing others and stop attempting to consistently please them. Please stop it. Please. Because once you begin to free yourself of this, it's like a weight of expectations and acceptance are kind of lifted up. You open up the door for proper relationship dynamics. One where you can offer yourself in the most total capacity, untainted and true. Be sure to not place anyone above or below yourself. Vitally important. I often talk to my clients about you need to make sure that your cup is filled first before you can pour into anybody else's cup. And be sure not to place anyone above you or below yourself. Treat everyone as equals. Stop looking at them as objects. Look at them as beautiful humans that are creator made for all of us. We're all unique and different in our own simple ways. Because when we treat everyone as equals, your communication and your attitude towards others will significantly change. I hope that really resonates with you because I feel in my 51 and a half years on this planet, I've really realized that people have a way of treating other people. And they almost are like inferior, right? And they treat you as an object. So truly embrace accepting everyone as equals because your communication will improve. Your attitude towards life, fulfillment, and happiness will improve. The next segment I want to talk about is you begin to learn how to change yourself if you begin to find true happiness. Now, I know that sounds super easy and super simple, but everybody is struggling. Everybody that I find that I bring on as clients are having this empty pit in their stomach. Because if you truly want to find true happiness, the ultimate goal of our existence, I'm going to explain this as simple as I can, is always to be better, do better, and continue to strive to be better. Now, are you complaining? Are you that toxic friend that constantly talks about somebody else behind their back? Is that your ultimate goal of happiness? How do you think that person feels? It's in our nature, I know, to focus on self-improvement. At least it should be. And if you're not constantly wanting to wake up every single day to be better than the day before, you're failing. Because change, you guys, is process that we are used to. Is it hard? Yes. Is it scary? Yes. Is it satisfying? Even more so. You just got to go through that storm. Because we are frightened by sudden or forced shifts in the normality of our life. And we prefer to approach it in a safe amount of specified time. Does that make sense? You know, some, however, avoid the opportunity to change altogether. In fact, there's a few people that I know that are still the same people they were 9-10 years ago. That's scary. Gosh, is that scary. Because you have not evolved. Ask yourself, are you better a year ago than you were today? And then chart it down. Write it on some paper. Chart what has been successful. What was it? What did you learn? Did you learn from your environment? Did the change create consistent growth? So whether it's ourselves or our environments, change is constant. And as such, the need to grow will remain ever present. The problem, however, y'all, is that we are afraid of sudden growth and unwilling to make any types of effort. However, the power of change lies in your hands, you guys. I see this so much. So much growth occurs from individuals that work with me in my 90-day program. I even got a 120-day program for clients. Because we may fear change, however, embracing it is essential for achieving your dreams. What are you changing to create that success, that momentum? One of my clients constantly talks to me that I always say to them, momentum. What momentum are you creating to get the change you want? Because when we refuse to change, y'all, we cling to hopeless ideas of past effects that have issues with our present and our future. The reason is that whatever happens now will happen whether you act on it or you don't act on it. This is actually false. And here's why. Our destinies are not determined until we work in that direction. Stop saying you're going to lose weight and then keep eating the cream puffs. If you guys don't know what that is, that's a Wisconsin thing for state, because in Wisconsin, the state fair has these big time cream puffs. And people are in lines for blocks to get a cream puff. But if you're on a weight transformation journey, yes, do I believe in 80-20? Absolutely. 80% of the time I'm dialed in my diet. 20% is I have some donuts. I don't worry about that anymore. So I'm going to say that again. Our destinies do not determine until we work in the direction. What direction are you doing with your career? What direction are you doing in your relationships? Are you constantly arguing with your significant other? Do you have massive blowouts? Does a significant other talk to you a certain way that is disrespectful? What work are you putting in to create that change? Or are you just putting it underneath the mat or the rug, so to speak? And then that rug, once you keep sweeping it underneath the rug, that little issue, that little dirt, those little specks, they start to form an egg. That egg, when you keep sweeping more under, forms to be a dragon. Then that dragon is a fire-breathing dragon that has created so much chaos in your life because you have not worked in the direction for change. We all need coaches. We need a life coach. We need a therapist. We need a physical personal trainer. That creates the direction for change. Change creates momentum. Momentum leads to success. Listen here, y'all. We need to let go of the excuses that hold us back. As I'm talking to you through this phone, you're catching it on YouTube or my channel or Spotify, wherever it is, what excuses are holding you back? Are you embracing change for benefit to help you for the long term? Change isn't time dependent. You aren't running out of time to make the proper adjustments to your life. Whenever you want, you can change your life and set it on the right path. Are you on the right path? Are you truly fulfilled in all areas of your life? Or is there something lacking? We can change your life, but you have to get on the right path. The risk we fear will come with making changes. I'm not denying that. However, you got to know that you're worth it till the absolute positive end until our Creator takes us back. We often think that if we do not experience improvements when others do, then we have failed. This mindset, you guys, is extremely harmful and forces us to either rush growth or abandon it altogether, especially once the set time passes. So we are the only ones who can make our lives better. You ever hear someone say, "Oh, well, you made me do this. You made me feel this way." That's so incorrect. No one makes you feel a certain way. No one does that to you. We are the ones who make our lives better. If someone speaks negatively or degrades us in public, we control that. Do we like it? No, of course not. However, my reaction to it is my power. And if I allow them to control my power, change is now out of my hands. We need to break free of the hold that fear has on us. I had an interaction with someone recently at a soccer match, and this person was just full of resentment, hatred, disgust, and I could see it on the body language, how they reacted. And this person that was interacting, they never gave that person the power to control their resentment. Does that make sense? You have that power. Does that person that I saw with this interaction happen, do they need guidance? So much so. It's probably fearful for them because they don't want to admit they're wrong. And that's where the growth happens, you guys. It's okay as a man to express vulnerability. In fact, I teach that with my clients. Because you need to break free of the hold that fear has on us. Because what does it do? It limits your true full potential, you guys, and keeps us from being our true selves. I'm going to talk about, I've got some trusted steps on how you can let go of the weight of the world around us. We want to be perfect. We're not perfect, you guys. We're completely flawed. That interaction that I saw, it's okay to know that you have hurt in your heart. But how are you being true to yourself? Are you seeing other people as objects, as humans, or are they beneath you? That's why you still hold on. And that's why you will not change. Is because you're afraid to let go. And when you're afraid to let go, you've set up limits for yourself. And you have accepted that you are not going to create that change. And that your life will never be fully fulfilled. Because if you truly are living a life where you need to ridicule, downgrade, have resentment in your heart, you're not happy. You're not. That's because internally you're struggling with stuff that you've done. And change does not have an expiration date, y'all. All you need to do is take the first step. And take it now. Take it with excitement. When you're about to make a decision, it's this simple. It's 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, I got to think about it. Nope, you don't. You will feel better about this decision you made in 3 seconds than you will if you sit and you think about it for days and days and days and days. Because when we are quick to make that decision. Do you do your research and due diligence ahead of time? Absolutely, 100%. But when it's time to make the decision, you make the decision. It's 3, 2, 1, go. In this next segment, I really want to talk about how much your emotions control you. And this has taken me a lot of growth, a lot of time, a lot of work on myself so that I can show this to my clients. If your emotions are high, don't respond, don't text, don't call, don't email. Draft it if you need to. Before you hit the send button, sit for 24 hours until you have come back to like an even state. Because when we react out of our emotions, those are people that don't know how to grow. It's a fixed mindset. It's a fixed mindset because they have not understood that their emotions got the best of them. You know, and by nature, humans are just emotional creatures. We're highly intelligent, however, still prone to emotions from time to time. I get it. These emotions we could talk about them, and I want to break them down a little bit. We have anger, we have happiness, we have sadness, joyfulness. Whether we admit it or we don't, they have a hold on us, you guys. And the only way to gain true happiness is to take back control and use our emotions to our advantage. Just as we postpone change because of fear, there are always ways we deprive ourselves knowingly of a more wholesome life. One of which is a fabrication of emotions, which is when we fake a particular emotion or reaction just to get away with something, or maybe in this case, avoid having any type of change. Does that make sense so far? Emotions are unpredictable and can cause lasting harm if unchecked. However, mastering them allows you, all of us, to use them allows us to use them to our advantage. The secret to our emotions can simply be control. The goal is to utilize this control to gain an advantage, and this is what I teach in my Live to Thrive program. You know, we often bring trauma we may have already healed from as the reason why change is impossible. Did you hear me? The reason why you're treating someone the way you are is because you have internal trauma that you haven't overcome. You are then your worst enemy. And when it comes to bettering ourselves, not because we hate ourselves, but because we are more willing to give excuses than do any type of real work for change. Woo! Am I preaching? When confronted with the opportunity to grow and change, we create, guess what? Excuses, reasons. I did an entire reel on it. Are you a reason? Because you don't want to change? You're holding on to something in the past? Why? I'll tell you why. This action is because we often are afraid of failure. And we cannot fail if we do not do anything outside of our comfort zone. However, I'm going to just break it down for you guys. Self-improvement is waiting for us just outside of that zone. If we wish to become better humans, maybe happier, you got to have a balanced reality of our emotions. The excesses we condone must be put under check. And we need to make intentional efforts to crave and sustain happiness for ourselves. Because if we continue to let our emotions control us, we will never achieve anything. And you must find the courage to be better and do better. As I was interacting and watching these this situation unfold as I talked about earlier. That person's emotions had them controlled. They weren't controlling their emotions. And that is why they will not do better. So if you want better, you got to control your emotions, because here's an interesting thought. You either turn me off or you turn up the volume after I'm about to say this. Once you develop the courage to be disliked, you can indeed free yourself to be who you want to be. I said it right here, right now, on Framing New Heights, because here's the deal, y'all. Past trauma is not an excuse to be stuck in a bad mental and emotional phase for the rest of your life. Excuse me. Because we must be courageous enough to move past it. If you cannot move past it, if you're a father, a mother, in a relationship, your career, you will never grow. You will stay that seed. You won't have any flowers. And if you are afraid to move past it, let me show you how. Because my Live to Thrive program, and if you want to check out more, you can go to www.livetothrive.com, will empower you to live a better life in your career, in your relationship, for you. Gain knowledge, wealth. Are you just okay with being average? Because if you are, I only help high achievers. This next segment is titled, You Can Live a Life Full of Happiness and Fulfillment. Ready? Here we go. Sometimes we delay our happiness when we get kind of sucked into murky waters of comparison. How many of you guys maybe spend some time going through the social media reel and you're finding yourself comparing? Well, we either do this to feel superior or inferior. When we compare our lives and successes to others, we are forced to feel like we are falling or failing short of even who we are. What comparison does, you guys? So you don't need the Mercedes, you don't need the BMW. I did all of that. I did all of that. And BMW, by the way, guys, stands for bring money with. Hopefully BMW will never want to sponsor. Well, they may want to sponsor me someday. But maybe they won't after this. I had the nice spicy cars. That's because I was comparing myself to somebody else. The life that I wanted to be. The image I wanted to portray. You know what image you should be portraying? Is what type of character do you have when you're in public? What type of character do you have when you're with your kids? What type of character do you have in your career? Comparison, y'all, steals our fulfillment by making us measure our achievements against those of others. Because here's what happens. In turn, we create unnecessary pressures for ourselves and make cycles of depression as a result. You're constantly chasing something. It's the rat race. You ever see the meme where this person's running after money? They run. And then they turn into skeleton, they fall into the dirt like a hole. Depression is a result of it. When we build life around competition with others, we set ourselves up for defeat, you guys. Flat out defeat. We cannot all be the same. Just going to tell you, our past, our struggles, our victories are so diverse that to expect one's life to be the same is really illogical. Because sometimes we compare ourselves with our idea of the ideal best self, right? What is your best self? How are you exemplifying your best self in public? When you're driving, are you cussing at other people? Are you putting up that magical middle finger? Is that your ideal best self? And we all fall short. I'm not denying that. And we aren't ideal, and we surely do not. We do live in a we live in a ugly world that sometimes expects us to have bigger heartaches, headaches. However, to truly grow, we must not burden our minds with a picture of perfectionism. I talk about this in my programming. Instead, we should think of models as a possibility. When you do this, you'll be more focused on the journey and count your little wins. Often we get so caught up on the big win, and at the end, we forget the small ones that culminated it. When we acknowledge the success of those around us as their fate and not feel the need to replicate it in our own lives, you will truly live an authentic life, one that's purposeful, one that's growing. You know, I've heard this often is, oh, I'm at 30 years old. I don't need to learn anything anymore. When you stop learning, you start living. Let me say that again. Take two. When you start living your true purposeful life, you'll constantly want to learn more, because more allows us to be better than we were the day before. Don't live your life to satisfy others. The courage to accept our lives as is imperfect is the first step to achieving happiness through contentment. Contentment is okay, and I'll talk about it. When we celebrate our little victories instead of competing, we free our minds of many negative emotions that cloud our judgment. Your only competition is who you were yesterday, and the goal is to do better today, not become bitter. You want a healthy interpersonal relationship that is vital to living a wholesome, fulfilling life? Well, interpersonal relationships, you guys, are simple relationships. And we have with other people, colleagues, friends, and family. They are the bedrock of our existence, whether we want to admit it or we don't. Whether those relationships, we could lose touch with reality and live relatively empty lives. However, why do we form these relationships? Ask yourself that question. And how can those who haven't already done so provide value for you in your life? What is your healthy fostered relationship? I had a client call that we talked about this. What worth are they bringing into your life? Do they see you as a beautiful human that's unlike anybody else? Or are they treating you as an object? Because when we form these interpersonal relationships, because we need to do, especially with our evolution, and we cannot live a detached life from our society. That's just not going to happen. So how do you create it? How do you create strong interpersonal relationships? It's actually relatively easy. You must first have an active interest in others, and not just yourself. Show a commitment to the affairs of others besides you. And when your friend truly asks for help, what can I do? How can I get there? I have a really good friend of mine, and I want to talk about him, and I'm going to give him a shout out right now. His name is Eric Baca. So Eric Baca, if you're listening to this, I recently just moved into a brand new home. It's a lot of work. It's been a lot of work. Every time I called him, he was there for me. That's a healthy, interpersonal, quality relationship. It's friends that you can count on. and they'll be there for you. Friends that don't come up with excuses. That's nurturing a healthy relationship. And when you can overcome the selfishness, you will then have a healthy, nurtured relationship. So I'm going to break down on how you can cultivate some new habits on building that cultivating healthy relationship. You got to have self-acceptance. Don't shy away from forming connections because you feel unworthy or imperfect. You need to change this mindset, and you must focus on the things you can adjust and work towards. Make sense? And you also got to have confidence in others. It's often true that we reluctantly show confidence in anyone but ourselves because people can be untrustworthy. I get it. However, form deep and meaningful relationships, you must have complete faith and trust in the people that form those connections. And contributions to others. As we form connections, we must make conscious efforts to contribute in our way to their daily lives. As we do, what we do is we create a sense of value and unselfishness in ourselves. And knowing that we can positively affect others and not just ourselves. So how are you in your relationships positively affecting somebody else? What do you do that gives them positivity? Or are you that person that is constantly negative? Because if you want a healthy, fulfilling relationship, how can you provide some positivity in their life? In my next segment, I want to tell you all, get more fulfillment and live out your biggest dreams when you can learn how to authentically be yourself. You guys ready for this? Because I put in some work on this. And I hope if you guys enjoy this channel, please send it to some friends and like it, give us a review. I would truly appreciate that. So day by day, little by little, we have made it regularly not to be normal. And I hate using that word normal, because what does normal mean nowadays, right? Normal for someone might be red hair with like a blue stripe down the middle. So be careful how we use the word normal. Your normal, I guess, is a better way. We have decided that the only way to be is the trendy or genuinely accepted pattern society has laid out for us. You failed. If you want to follow the trend of society, you've already failed. And what this does, it creates faceless drones, all striving to copy the same set of design. Be different. Be exceptional. Be authentic. I know as I was growing up, I was attempting to walk and talk a certain way because some of my friends did it. Is that right? You're a faceless drone. And when we have this, the notion has created a harsh and toxic environment for anyone who chooses to live by rules of the society, because they think that this makes them feel comfortable. In a world like this, it takes a lot of courage to be one's true self. I get it. This is the reason why I work with so many high achievers. When there is so much judgment waiting for whoever dares lives outside the confines of these standards, there will be a shortage of authentic people. Ordinarily, this pressure to be someone you're not shouldn't affect. However, we have failed to accept ourselves for who you are. Stop and appreciate life for the exact way it is, and only seek improvements where they are needed. What do you need to improve on? Because if you have set goals, pursue them, but don't expect them to get achieved right away. It's okay. That's why you work with a coach, a life coach, a strategist, a mindset coach. Because if you keep putting so much weight on these set goals, you'll set yourself up for unhappiness. Live in the present. Live for the future. Stop looking in the past. Don't lose sight of where you are now. But learn how to search for the now. I hope that makes sense. Search for the now. Because if you could take pride in the here and now and the present, you might be aiming for a goal. However, you need to appreciate the little gifts of life that is granted to us while we wait for the big goal. Because without this, you lose focus on the essential, detailed items. The goal is important. However, so is the journey to do it. If we are too focused on the future, we risk ever living in the now, the present, right where your feet are. I just did a reel on this. It gets me fired up. The key to a wholesome life is letting oneself experience life's stages to the fullest. You can do this through the past, the present, and the future. Here's the thing about unhappiness, y'all. And thank you for those of you that are tuning in on the live right now. You cannot be blamed on your past or your environment. Stop blaming others about their past. Stop it. You're holding on to resentment that you haven't openly opened your heart to. Why are you constantly living in the past when your feet are right here? You know why? Because you lack competence. You do. You haven't gone through the vulnerability of hiring a coach, a mentor to help you through that struggle. You also, besides competence, you lack courage. You're scared. So I'm just going to call it what it is. You are lacking in the courage to be happy. Powerful. How do you want to live an authentic, good life? You have hatred in your heart? You have resentment? If you do, you're not living your best life and your ideal life. And your relationships are tarnished. As I wrap this segment up today, you guys, understanding yourself is a first step to becoming the better version of yourself. When you know yourself, you can take proper steps to improve your life to be better. And don't look at change with so much dread. Because it can be really good to open yourselves up to change. And as we attempt to change ourselves, we must also remember to change how we react and how much control our emotions have over us. Because they can hinder a lot of potential growth. If someone's acting out of emotions, I know they haven't done much growth. They haven't changed anything. And getting your emotions in check is going to take some work. It kind of will pave the way for you if you learn how to do it. Allow you to free yourself from the pressure you face daily and letting others decide your life and how your life should go. You are allowing other people to dictate your life. It would be best if you learn to live for yourself, you guys. And knowing how to distance yourself from the opinions of others is very vital because it helps you nurture healthy relationships, especially relationships for the long term. You can realize that you're one of a kind. Did you guys know that? You're all one of a kind. And as such, we can act accordingly and refuse to be caged or classified. And if you're allowing your emotions to get to you, you're caged. Own your uniqueness and show enough courage to be you, authentically you. And stop apologizing for you. I've got an entire podcast on that, on people apologizing too much. The word sorry. You can check it out on another stream. It takes a lot of courage to be different in the world that's forcing us to be like everybody else. And you might be disliked by some people. And it's okay. It's okay. But you be living a life you choose, which is free, which is happy, which is full of love, which is authentically you. The courage to be disliked is refusing to live within the confines of people's negative opinions of you. I'm preaching. And it is choosing to live freely, authentically, by rules that you have set in place. Rules that ensure you are living a healthy and fulfilling, abundant life. So, high achievers, I'm going to leave you with this today. If you want the courage to be disliked, you must first accept yourself wholly, thereby blocking any external negative feedback that you get. I'm going to give you some free advice right now. If you truly want to accept yourself for who you are, write these down. Embrace the fear of failure. Know your purpose. Gain control of your mind. Stop living a fixed mindset. Start living a growth mindset. And remember that you don't have to be perfect. You only need to be authentically yourself. Thank you, my friends, for tuning in. And if this podcast really resonated with you, please hit the subscribe button, pass along to 5 other friends. And as always, your host today, Michael Hicks, sending you out with positivity, love, and being authentically yourself. As always, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. And always, stay flexed.